Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for having us and for having invited us for this interesting workshop. I'm Lorenzo Masucchielli. I'm in charge of international emergencies at Italian Red Cross. And with us today, but also in the future as part of the Drone Technical Working Group, there is Fabrizio Trombetti. Fabrizio is our national technical delegate, so the technical responsible for everything related to UAV and UAS. So, Fabrizio, if you want to introduce yourself, please go ahead. Mike.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So you want to start Lorenzo?
Yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, Fabrizio,
okay.
otherwise.
I'm Fabrizio Trombetti. For my profession is an architect, but I'm also for pleasure. I'm a private pilot license owner, and I have a pilot of a general aviation for many years, about 25 years. And my deep interest in drones helped me to understand and start to construction all the work and the work in Red Cross, Italian Red Cross for drones. That's it.
Thank you. So, going quickly, I mean, we use drone for different activities. Then Fabrizio will go in depth in this. Mainly as for other national societies, we consider the UAV as an aircraft, but the important part is then how we use not only the aircraft, but the payload as well. So we'll go through three different points: the internal organization, our capacity, and the activities then. And then a little bit about innovation and future ideas that we have. First of all, we respond and we use UAVs as part of our mandate in emergency management. So we are mainly using them as part of our national response, preparedness and response capacity. And then we can do it thanks to the Italian law, thanks for being an operational structure of the Italian civil protection system, so a sanctioned organization within the Italian Emergency Management Agency. And in agreement with, and this is also a way to have a strong agreement with the Italian Civil Aviation Authority. We use, and then Fabrizio will show you how the coordination is organized. We use drone at every level. So we use drones at to support local emergency operations center, regional and provincial, or the national one, according to the dimension and the level of emergencies or preparedness activities that we have to implement. So in this way, we can have different requests coming from different actors that can be civil protection authorities, can be other operational structure, like for example the fire and rescue corps, or it can be an agreement between the Italian Red Cross and the single municipalities and so on for planning purposes. Just for giving you an idea, this just try to memorize a little bit just this image, not in terms of the numbers that can be a little bit occurs, but in terms of seeing where we have more capacities in country, considering that we have around 160,000 volunteers. Later on, you will see then how we are organized and how we have distributed more or less our pilots and our machines. I'm leaving you with this initial pictures of UAV's activities performed by the Italian Red Cross in different ways. And I'm leaving you with Fabrizio for the following part of this presentation. Thanks a lot.
Good. Thanks, Lorenzo. So you can see some images of our works, and slide, please. And you can see our organization. We have training and coordination areas. First of all, the first national emergency operation center is in Rome. We are really close with the Sala Sistema. That is for us the first place and an important place for decision maker in during emergency. It is located in Rome. But we have also the training center that is a recognized entity by ENAC in Bologna, and preparedness center in Lombardy and in Milan. This is about our organization in the country. Slide, please. And the fact that all the Red Cross operators are trained as a WAS National Training Center obviously is remarkable, and because they receiving the same preparation for all, which also provided for a periodic retraining. And the service, Italian Red Cross WAS service, currently has 196 pilots and 106 unmanned aircraft located through the country, and divided into many committees, all registered in the procedural guideline and included in the operation manual and standard operation procedures. With this structure, the Red Cross activities is able to operate and activate with the reduced response times. Slide, please. Here you can see the location, the organization, and the density in each region in Italy. The most density we have in Tuscany and in Sicily. And it is very usefully, especially for Italy, because you can imagine we arrive immigrants people, for instance. And slide, please. What we do today, first of all, the experience in search and rescue, in urban search and rescue, in aerophotogrammetrics surveys subject to the institutional activity in emergency or in prevention. Support to the other activities for special relief. First experiment for delivery we are doing now. Such workforce of qualified pilots is also supported by the other professional figures, for instance, ground staff, logistic, or cartographers, or telecommunication, as you can see here in this slide. Health and care support to staff involved in the activity. Slide, please. We are, this is the line, it's about the line with the WAS operation phases, with the data analysis and national development. L'activity we are involved now in the urban search and rescue environment. There is a critical scenario for Italy in which the Red Cross coordinates with other subject presence, and in which pilots are trained to operate. And moreover, for search and rescue activities, the WAS pilots operate with means equipped for the real-time data reception and their transmission to the advanced command post, the mobile operating rooms, and other Red Cross operators present in the field. In case of emergency of higher levels, the Red Cross WAS pilot is able to operate for aerophotogrammetric survey, useful, for example, in order to set up tent camps, as well as the exploration of the access routes for teams and for the arrival of the rescue vehicles. The use of computer tools such as structure from motion software, that is parametric software, or for mapping and georeferenced return data processing and collectors, allow the survey and measurements of the intervention scenario. These operations have already been tested, obviously, on rubble fields, and were quite useful in support of other Red Cross activities. Slide, please. This is I can see our milestone centralized training, national SOP for mobilization, and national for intervention. These are our milestone, I mean. Go on, please. So I told you about the fast activity time, and we study with through a COBO form the emergency operation request with a link in which the operator can added and included all document, all dates that we need for activity. We can know exactly each time which kind of pilot, which kind of aircraft is flying or is going to fly, where, when, and how many pilots, and for what kind of works. This is very fast, very expeditive activity, and we can do the activation also in 10, 12 minutes, no more. Go on, please. This is our chain for activation, starting from the request of the president of committee and the local or regional rooms, still to the director of the manned aircraft services. I can see this application, I told you, allows the activation of volunteers and the transmission of all flight data, and allows also the capillary expeditious control of house activities of all Red Cross pilot, activated only after the verification of the areas of overflight, the title and qualification owned by those pilots, or for the insurance coverage, or the online operation of the aircraft, the safety relating to the intervention scenario. Go on, please.
Yeah, there is one point that is quite crucial in Fabrizio's organization about this. In order to have a strong trust and a quite important accountability structure, and these are elements fundamental to give us the possibility to fly in case of emergency, also in area where normal drone pilots cannot fly, and also to fly in over cities where normally you are fined up to 30,000 euros if you are flying for your own leisure. We need to have a strong command and control structure, and we need to ensure that the Civil Aviation Authority is informed on what we are doing, and we can be accountable for it. That's why we need to have this strong command chain linking the different emergency operation centers together, and having anyway the unmanned aerial system service approving all the different requests.
That's right. Good.
So this is something we are sharing with Fabrizio, and this is one of the connecting point between the emergency management by itself and the use of unmanned aerial service and vehicles. We have so in operational planning in Italy, we use the incident command system in Italian Red Cross. So we try to identify elements and points where the use of UAVs can be immediately envisaged in terms of supporting the operational planning and the execution of the incident action plan. So for sure, at the beginning, during the early response phase, having drones that can support search and rescue and damage assessment is quite interesting. Then in the tactical meetings and during the tactics development, developing an important flight operations plan is crucial in a way that this can be then shared with the Civil Aviation Authority, with the Fire and Rescue Corps, with the other organization involved, also supporting flight separation. And then when we're talking about planning meeting, the use of and planning action, so the development of the incident action plan by itself, having UAVs and UAS working on situational awareness and aerial and supporting the aerial assessment is another element quite important. And then, of course, during the execution of the response plan, all the activities can be somehow used and integrated. This, of course, our thing here on a planning bit is a little bit more domestic for some countries, but the same approach can be used when developing the planning strategy and the implementation plan in an international operation. So you know that then the assessment cell can be of benefit of having drones in this initial assessment action, and then during the whole operation supporting the aerial assessment and situational awareness. But as we have seen in Mozambique, having a flight operations plan can support this flight separation during the whole operation. This is has been also very important in Mediterranean so in supporting population movement in Mediterranean Sea. This is something that we didn't do as Italian Red Cross by itself, but when we have NGOs at sea flying helicopters, drones, and at the same time having the Navy or the Coast Guard flying helicopters, this is something that we have to consider. So I'm leaving back to Fabrizio.
Okay, we told you it's very important for us the sharing with the other nation society, experience, activities, documents, and so on, and way to work also. Slide, please. Okay, thank you. So for we have a new frontier, so where we are working now, and is the trying to reduce the time to response. And a new frontier is the resilience study of a minor historic center. We have a lot of historic center in Italy. There is in the experimental phase, obviously, through the study of city maps in order to develop predictive scenarios for the action to be taken immediately after the disaster, such as the event or earthquake, floods, fires, or deflagration, for instance. Some of these actions have already been the subject of joint exercise carried out on the national territory in collaboration with the National Fire Brigade Corps. Slide, please. We are trying to use also these new aircraft that we are thinking to use for BVLOS, that I mean very distance flight. You can see here it has a range under 50 kilometers, and in which with this aircraft we We can transport a blood bank, refrigerators, medical supplies, emergency first aid kit, and emergency support supplies, milk, water, food, and so on. This is experimental that we are doing in Grottaglie, south of Italy. Slide, please. So we are using all tools that hardware and that technical we are giving now today. GIS, database, geolocalization, terrestrial sensor, integrated delivery, and new activities. That is, we are doing, and that is what we are connected everywhere in the world, all over the world, I mean. Okay, I think that's it. Last slide. Thank you so much. Thank you for you.
Thank you. That was terrific. I know I have at least one question, and then we'll open it up to the wider group. You mentioned on one of your slides satellite and drone integration. Are there any more details you can provide about that?
Yes, I can, Daniel. So we are actually working on different projects, mainly financed by the EU Civil Protection Mechanism, where we are working on different kind of satellite imagery. There will be an exercise in Georgia in June, where we will, on one side, work on satellite imagery and capacity to forecast the propagation of wildfires, and on the other side, use UAV teams for supporting search and rescue operation integrated in this way. Then we are working on a potential proposal for the European Space Agency for working on AI for damage assessment that integrates SAR technology, so synthetic aperture radars for satellites, and then high resolution imagery by satellites. Then we will see if the high resolution imagery can be integrated or completely substituted using high-res images coming from UAVs that can be of some more support, particularly in supporting ground operation when you have no satellite coverage on your head. So these are two elements we're building on. And then, of course, there is one point that Fabrizio is working on, is related to working on imagery for preparedness and for planning. That, of course, it integrates satellite, general satellite imagery, not only imagery, also radar activities. Orthophotography is classic orthophotography is using aircraft, and then drone site inspections and drone site orthophotography or 3D reconstruction for specific mapping action. So those are some elements.
Fantastic. Are there other people in the room who would like to raise a question? Feel free to come off mute. Oh, there we go. Utam?
Yeah, hi Daniel, hi Fabrizio, and that was an interesting presentation. I am Uttam Pudasaini from Nepal Flying Lab, and we also do drones for disaster management, mostly like disaster response related activities. And last year we worked on a mobile application that people can use for sending like emergency drone flight request. So in your presentation, you showed us that there is a form based on COVO that you use for applying for permission in the case of emergencies. So I just wanted to understand, like, is it an app only for Italy, or is it in some open source app that you are using, or is it a combination of both mobile and web application, or is it just a digital form that you use. Could you please explain a bit more about how you are using that and what technology it is?
No, Lorenzo, go on.
Okay, so for the technology, it works like that. We had to write a patch to automatically import Kobo products, Kobo database in a Google spreadsheet, because we normally use Google as a part of our cloud, and more or less all the tools we are using are there. So we are receiving, so the emergency operations centers are filling the Kobo form. They can then, through the patch, this is moved to a Google spreadsheet, and this will will share the data with two different things. On one side, it creates automatically Google Documents that is sent by email for the approval chain, and at the same time it supports a dashboard that gives us the possibility to see all the different activities. This is how the thing is structured. So of course it's open. I mean, Kobo, we are using the IFRC Kobo new server. So and the patches it's been shared times ago on the Sims, but we can share it again with no problem.
If I can add something, okay.
Yes.
I would like to explain that in filling the format that we show you, the person he can find exactly all pilots and aircraft included in the national list that we did each day, every day, and so on. So we have assurance that you cannot operate with the pilots that we cannot fly for some reason, I don't know, because if you don't find in the format, he cannot fly with the airplane or with the or the pilot, I mean.
Yeah, thank you. It is clear. I just have one follow-up question on that, and then another question if there is time. So the follow-up question, like suppose if I am a pilot, then where do I get this Google form? Is it available on a website? So I go there, I download the form, and I submit my flight request detail, or how does that work?
No, we are a lot more structured in this sense. We have a strong command and control structure. So if you are a pilot, you are not part of the response system. You have to be an Italian Red Cross certified pilot, integrated, and when you are trained and certified, then you know and you receive the standard operating procedures. And it will be your emergency operations center that will manage your flight operation.
And you need, and you need also a particular assurance coverage, because he had to include the activities for civil protection. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that sounds more organized. My another question is about data sharing and storage. So as you mentioned in one of the slides, it was more like there are more than 100 pilots doing the flight, right? So what sort of digital tool or software system that you are using for data storage and sharing? And are you also considering of, like, you know, there might be other pilots, like other commercial pilots, taking imageries of same area. So if Red Cross has a need to capture image, do you also like ask those organizations for data sharing, or you always do your own data capture for your emergency planning purpose?
So this is a little bit so to answer this question, I have to talk a little bit about the civil protection system, how it works in Italy. We have a coordinated approaches at every level, so from municipality to the national one, through civil protection authorities that are the mayor, the prefect, the president of the region, and of course at the national level with the head of civil protection system. So the data sharing in terms of sharing shape files or imagery is normally done at command center, wherever they are, whenever we are asking for. So for example, if you are doing a search and rescue operation, and this is something that is normally managed at tactical level, so in the emergency operations center, in the advanced command post, the data sharing and the imagery sharing is done through the Italian Fire and Rescue Corps in command of the advanced command post. And then up to the chain, for example, if you need to have a burn scar from a wildfire, you can ask directly to the Italian Civil Protection at national level, where there is a wildfire control center. So this is a little bit how we work in data sharing. What we have, so we have different kind of software. Then Fabrizio can talk a little bit more about it. And at least two main environments. One is the Google Cloud. So through that we can easily organize folders and share it. Another one is through Esri or through QGIS. We have a QGIS server that has been used also for IFRC operation, or Esri or whatever is needed. And then through that we can organize on having API or other kind of sharing.
Okay, thank you. That was useful. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I see Brent has his hand raised, then after him, we'll go to Feliciana's chat question.
Thanks, Dan. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It was a very interesting overview of all the work you've done. I had a question related to training. As you probably know, in most parts of the world, to get a UAV license, it's a series of usually online training and a written exam. I noticed you do centralized training. So I just had a question about maybe do you find that, obviously you must find it superior to just online training. And do you have a practical component to it, or is it all instruction and testing? Because I one of the questions, you know, many of us have had is, do you need to train people to physically manipulate the drone in order to authorize them to use it in a disaster situation? But thank you.
Thank you so much, because this one is a very interesting question, and it was a problem for us, because we asking, can Italian Red Cross contest the license that some school authorized in Italy give you? Can I can prepare my pilots. I can give the license with our training center, okay? But if the pilots want to come with us, and he want to bring with him his license, Italian Red Cross can say your license is not possible to use, okay? I mean, for this reason we have our center, but we can accept also a pilot that have license in another center. Also, sorry, for online license, okay? But in this case, we take our new pilots, and bring them in the center of the training center, and we have to see how he works, and we have to see his prepare level, and we connected him with our operation standard operation procedures, okay? It's not important how they use the ground station, for instance, or how they fly. It's important for us that he has the head, the aeronautical head. He has to understand in which area they are flying, This is important because if we have to connect our work, for instance, with the fire brigade corps arriving with the plane or with the helicopter, they have to know how to do what to do. This is important for us. I mean, it's not important where you you took the license. It's important how I can see you are working with us.
Thank you very much, Fabrizio.
You're welcome.
And then from the chat, Feliciana asks, is there any laws that impede your work or limit your work in certain areas? So I think you mentioned a little bit about that you were able to fly in like urban areas where other people might be fined and in disaster areas. So maybe you could just elaborate, talk a little bit more about those situations, if there's any additional situations.
Posso andare io? Can I go?
Sì.
Okay. So you can imagine, for instance, in city center in Rome, we usually use drones for control of marathons. We had some marathons last month, for instance. And it's very difficult to fly because we have some maps. We have ENAC, Civil Aviation, Italian Civil Aviation, prepare a map that you can see on PC online, and they demonstrate us how we can fly. But it's not so easy because we have a lot of government buildings for us. For instance, we have Vatican City and so on. For each flight in this area, we have to ask in advance the authorization to many subjects. For instance, local police, for instance, government, and so on. Usually, they give us immediately the authorization for us, for Red Cross. In a few days or for a few hours. But each time we need to do the right authorization. Okay, thank you. This is an example of flying maps. In red one, you can see the area in which you can fly, but here you can find also aircraft, typical aircraft. So we have some level, we have some distance we cannot pass, and so on. Here, for instance, where is the sign, you can see the Ciampino airfield. It's not allowed here. It's very dangerous for liners to find in front the aircraft. But if we have some, if we need to work here inside, we can ask authorization, and usually we have authorization from the government and so on. But I mean, each time we need to ask in area are not yellow or red. You can fly free. But this for us is not mean that you can fly. You pilot also if you are included in a national list. You cannot fly it alone as you please. You have to fly it before you have to give us the format of authorization that I wrote you, that I show you before. Okay. Or in the left side, you can see here each different colors explain me the maximum meters AGL above ground level. I mean, that means the high that I can reach till the height that I can reach from the land. And this claim, we are showing this claim. each Italian pilot of the aircraft are included in the list of this one. The flight is the platform of ENAC, Civil Aviation, Italian Civil Aviation Organization. And okay, grazie Lorenzo.
Great, thank you for that. Utam, I see you have another follow-up question. Do you want to come off mic and ask that?
Yeah, I just wanted to learn a bit more about the training content, if it is shareable, because Flying Lab, we are conducting a series of training for the government officials, and it's related to, specifically related to multi-hazard risk assessment. But any resources around like trainings related to disaster management would be very helpful. So Fabrizio, like the training you mentioned, is the syllabus available online for outsiders to have a look, or is it more internal? Is it only something that's shared internal only?
I come in because I can answer from the perspective of a trainee more than a trainer in this case. When I've been to the flight school, to the Italian Red Cross flight school, was really important for me to understand how to use the drone in conditions where the normal GPS systems and normal flight system are not working. So in ATT, considering that you are flying, if you're supporting search and rescue or urban search and rescue operation on the head of your colleagues, and also and having an in-depth exchange on the standard operational procedures. Classic, because this is what you really need and what's the real difference between an emergency management drone pilot compared to a classic drone pilot. Also, some elements, like for example, that you might have very important differences in the flight capacity of your UAV if you're flying, for example, in the Alps, so in high altitudes. And in Nepal, I think you have you experimented this directly. Or with the different kind of climate zone or temperature. So in harsh winter or in very hot summer, you may find different situation. And this is also important because if you work for ground search and rescue, or even for classic analysis and mapping, this is an important element that has passed to us, not only in a theoretical way, but also in a practical way. And last but not least, what you can do, what you cannot do in tampering with your machine. So you have a DJI drones and you say, okay, I want to deliver these things. I just take some rope and link it to the drone and fly it with that. No, you cannot. You cannot in your civil life in Italy. Maybe in other countries you can. That's something I don't know. But more than that, you cannot when you're flying with a machine that is registered to the Italian Red Cross, and the Italian Red Cross is accountable for what you are doing. So this is another element that is quite important. That's from a trainee point of view. I think they're the main takeouts. So then, of course, Fabrizio will integrate as much as you want.
Yeah, okay. So those things, you have to imagine that to fly in Italy, it's really very, very difficult, not only for drones, but also for normal aircraft. We have, as you can see before on the map, we have a lot of area dangerous or regulated and so on. So, for instance, when you are on flight, you have to ask, we have to connect with many control center. It's quite difficult. Anyway, I think we don't have a lot of problem for the activity of Italian Red Cross. When we ask, I told you, when we ask authorization, they give us immediately. It's not a problem.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Those were really useful and interesting point. But my question was more specifically about whatever training module and courses you have designed for your emergency management program. Is it open for emergency responder in other countries to view and have a look as a reference, or is it more shared among the internal team only? That
No,
the program syllabus that you have designed.
it's very deeper in front of other. If you took the license by on distance in DAD, obviously you cannot have all preparation, the exact preparation that we need. That's why we help our pilots according our scenario. In our standard operation procedures, we included some scenarios. There are, for instance, search and rescue, for delivery, for only video and photogrammer, and so on. And for each of these scenario, we prepare our pilots to do the activity, especially for this one. It means not to pilot the drone, but it means also how where I am in that moment, what I can do. If I'm working with other special service in Red Cross, how can do without give some difficult, for instance, to dogs, no, for dog service. How can I see the person that I'm searching here? It's not so easy. The scanning, for instance, the scanning of the land, the scanning of the area. We try to teach them that elements that added the preparation of the pilots, the basically preparation of the pilot. Okay.
Great. Thank you for all those details about the training program. And if there's any outlines of the curriculum materials, or if there's anything that can be, any documents that can be shared out, maybe you can pass those along, and I'll share them with anybody who's interested. Francesco, I see you have a hand raised. We're maybe this one or two more questions, and we're coming up on time.
Okay, sorry, I don't know if this has been already said and I missed it, but I would be interested to know what kind of software you're using for the creation of orthomosaic imagery.
Well, if we talking about structure for motion, you mean, or for usually for normal imaging?
Like photogrammetry to stitch together images from drones to create.
Okay, we have a lot of topos. Maybe I don't know where are you, but in Italy we have topos. There is a software in which we can put inside the basic maps, and in which we added the parametrics to the data of each area, for instance, for building and so on. And then we use also other software, for instance, Metashape. Maybe you know Metashape. There is a software for structure from motion. This software added the parametric data on all things, all areas that we are going to see, to visit, to analyze it. Okay.
Okay, thanks. I didn't know Metashape because I'm trying to find a solution for British Red Cross. I'm trying to get them to start to work to use drones, and I'm still looking around for a photogrammetry software. So I will have a look at Photoscan.
Okay.
Francesco, we have a project with the British Red Cross named ESARC, financed by Jaguar Land Rover. So if you want, we can also have a bilateral meetings with you and Fabrizio, organizing whatever you want to discuss about this. Just send an email to me and Fabrizio, and we'll connect with no problem.
For sure.
That's great. Thanks. Thanks. Perfect.
Great. Brent, I see your hand is raised. Is that from the previous question, or do you have another one?
Sorry, that was the previous. My hand button is stuck this afternoon. So.
No worries. Okay. We're coming up on time. So thank you so much, Fabrizio and Lorenzo. That was a fantastic presentation, and it's amazing to see how well you've integrated drones in your operations and how much you have going on.